year, my brother made it into the championship game for his football division, Culpeper Football Association. He did not win the championship, and he aged out of his league. But in the course of 3 years that he played, he learned a few important lessons, like how to be sportsmanlike and how to lose with grace. Sadly, he will learn no more of these lessons because he aged out, and he cannot play on a junior varsity team in a public school because he is homeschooled. We should allow our homeschoolers to play on public school teams for several reasons. Few of them being that we pay taxes for the public school teams to play, and it denies the constitutional rights of homeschoolers to play when they are not allowed to play. I have done much research on this topic, being homeschooled myself, and I have even debated for it in a formal debate. So if you will listen closely, I will tell you why our homeschoolers should be allowed to play on public school teams. First of all, there are only 3 options currently for homeschoolers to play sports in our state. The first is to join a private league. However, this is too expensive for most homeschool families, as most have only one working parent, as the other is the teacher. The second option is a travel league. Just like the first option, it is often too expensive, but also too time-consuming to travel when playing a sport. The third option is to play sports with the private schools. However, private schools usually have limited sports options or none at all, and some, just like the public school, don't allow homeschoolers to play. So now I will tell you why many are opposed to letting homeschoolers play on the public school teams, and why those claims are non-issues. The first few reasons are monetary. The first is that of insurance. What if a child hurts himself while playing? What if he gets a concussion while playing football or breaks an ankle sliding into home base? What if the parent sues? This is not an issue because most homeschoolers are home educated for religious reasons, and most religious people do not believe it is right to sue. Also, most homeschoolers have their own insurance anyways, so this is not an issue. The second issue is that of government funding. A school receives so much money for each student who plays on a team, and if they don't attend the school, like a homeschooler, the schools will not receive any money for those students. This is not really that much of an issue. It does not cost that much to buy an extra t-shirt or 2 for those playing on a team, but if it's really an issue, a parent can supply the extra equipment or jerseys needed. Some also think that homeschoolers shouldn't play because they do not meet the same academic standards. This is not true at all. The homeschool legal defense states the law plainly, quote, "Homeschooler participation in public school activities are usually subject to certain requirements, which are often part of the school's policy and the State High School Association athletic bylaws. Although specific requirements vary from state to state, they generally include being in compliance with state homeschool laws, meeting the same eligibility requirements such as age and residence and public schools as the public school students, and 3, submitting verification that the student is passing his or her core subjects. Additional information may be required depending on the state, but those are the basics. Some also argue that it isn't fair that you should be allowed to play where you aren't educated. I argue that it is not fair for students to be barred from playing because the parents are the ones who make the decisions about their education, not the student. The thinking that because a student is educated elsewhere from where they play is biased and prejudiced against the student. Homeschooler participation in public school activities. So, despite the concerns that we have seen from those opposed, this law concerning homeschoolers has worked in other states, 22 to be exact. There are currently 22 states that allow homeschoolers to play on their public school teams, and there have been few concerns so far. Alan Best of the Iowa State High School Athletic Association said of the system, "We have encountered very few problems with our homeschool students, and those issues are resolved at the local school level." If it works in almost half the states in our nation, it can certainly work in the state of Virginia. So when the Tebow bill comes up again, that is the bill that allows homeschool students to play on the public school teams, I urge you to side with homeschoolers. Governor McAuliffe denied this bill this year, saying, "Opening participation to competitors and individuals who are not required to satisfy the same criteria upends Virginia's extracurricular framework and codifies academic inequality and interscholastic competition. I have already showed you how these claims are false. Homeschoolers are indeed must meet the same qualifications as public schoolers. Denying a homeschooler the right to play violates their constitutional right to the pursuit of happiness. If playing on a public school team makes a homeschooler happy, they should be allowed to do this. But not only does it deny a constitutional right, it denies a God-given right, meaning that all men are equal. God's laws are higher than our laws, and any of what God's laws set are higher than anything that will be ever set in our courts. So, we hear a lot about inequality these days, and if you truly believe in equality, I urge you to side with homeschoolers and give them the same equality as public school athletes.